Hi, welcome back to Y'all Hate Sports, Part 4, Sports Broadcasting. Just give me a minute, I still have another set to do. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm ready, fully dressed. Think I'm gonna try to make these videos drop on Mondays and Tuesdays going forward, since, these are my days off and, your boy be grinding. Yeah, but this is Part 4. So, let's talk about what I graduated to do what I want to do. That's sports broadcasting. Now, sports broadcasting wasn't actually a thing until 1921 when a Pittsburgh radio station decided to call a baseball game between the Pirates and the Phillies. From that year on, broadcasting evolved and became more modernized with legends like, Al Michaels, Jack Buck, his son Joe Buck, Bob Costas, Vin Scully, Stuart Scott, and so many more becoming synonymous with live sports. Let's be real for a second. Especially for casual fans, sports would be a lot less interesting if there wasn't a famous voice behind a sport. Every sport has that one voice that you recognize. I think over the years, people have come to take a lot of what sports broadcasters really do for granted. Everyone has their preference, and that's fine, but the amount of work that actually goes into being a sports broadcaster is more than you think. And I also want to clarify this now. Sports broadcasters and sports analysts are the same. Anybody can go into the booth and say, wow, look at that dunk from Giannis. That's just one aspect of the job. As a lead sports broadcaster, you have to arrive earlier than even the teams to prepare for the game. You have to have a scouting report of who is playing for said teams that day, as well as how to pronounce each player's names correctly. You have to keep track of the stats while in the game. For televised games, you have to know when your cues are on when to go to commercial, when to talk about a certain product. You have to worry about travel with the team, as well as building a rapport with players, because some players might not feel comfortable talking about their more personal ideas and thoughts with a complete stranger. I say all this to say that, yes, not every voice you're going to like a Kenny Albert or Joe Buck. But you have to respect the amount of effort that actually goes into making these games as enjoyable to watch like a Gus Johnson or a Kevin Harlan. And fan experience plays a factor too. The number one job for any sports broadcaster is to remain as objective as possible, unless it's a local game where you have a little bit more leeway. But that's the problem nowadays. There's barely any objectiveness from all broadcasters anymore, which brings me back to sports analysts. Sports analysts are the guys that sit next to the lead broadcaster and give a player's perspective of the game because they're typically either a former player or coach themselves. Similar to their counterpart, unless it's local media, once again, they have to try and stay as objective as possible, and I see too many nowadays doing pretty much the opposite. It's the reason why football and basketball media culture is so toxic now. And on top of everyone always wanting to be right, because, like my dad J. Cole said, pride is the devil, they don't hide who they're rooting for. Even if the game is nationally televised. Like, seriously, there's no reason that I, a Sixers fan, should have to listen to Stan Van Gundy tell me why Joel Embiid is the problem in Philly because everybody leaves him while he's in the midst of dropping a 30-point triple-double on one functioning knee against one of the best teams in the NBA. Like, clear bias aside, no broadcaster shouldn't ever do that. Not even wrestling broadcasters do that, unless the character calls for it. Like, even wrestling broadcasters try to stay as objective as they possibly can. There's a clear agenda that everyone follows morally when it pertains to sports. Nowadays, it's valued more than the actual truth of something. Everyone is so quick to judgment, and the worst part is I don't even think most of them realize that their voice has bass behind it, and people listen to that. Like, newsflash, everybody, the media still controls everything and can sometimes make or break what makes a player hate the media or not. So, if you're an aspiring sports broadcaster, leave your bias outside the booth. Be respectful to your own colleagues and the players, and focus on making the experience for a fan memorable. I don't know where I would be in my life without hearing Mark Sumoff tell me that Allen Iverson has turned garbage into gold, or Mike Breen yelling bang after a clutch shot. My love for sports isn't just one sport, but multiple. And there are so many iconic voices that help me realize that. So just appreciate sports broadcasters a little bit more. That's all I'm asking for. We are making strides every day with new inclusive broadcasters. Man, woman, gay, straight, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. It's 2024 at this point. Why be caught up in who's trying to tell you the score of the game? Overall, what do you guys think about sports broadcasting? Should it be a thing? Should it not be a thing? I'm sure a lot of Philadelphia fans wish it wasn't a thing, but oh, trust me, Philly media is going to get their own separate video. But if you made it all the way to the end of this video, tell me who your favorite sports broadcaster is, or tell me your favorite call from your favorite sports game. I would love to hear it. My name is Billy Cameron, and I will see y'all for part 5 of Y'all Hate Sports.